Welcome to the fifth and last video on how to set up a NavTech server cluster. In this video, I'll show you how to make backups of your wallets, how to load your Neff Pull and the Subchain Core with coins, and how to test your server and make it public. The first thing that we'll do is create backups of your NavCoin and Subchain Core wallets. For this, I make use of FileZilla. What you will have to do on your incoming and outgoing server is going into the NavCoin 4 folder and the NAVCoin and Sub Coin folder, and from there you copy the wallet files. The copies of these wallet files are your backups. If anything ever happens to your servers, you will need those files to get access to your coins again. I made folders for both servers, and in those folders I made again new folders to keep track of all the wallets. This makes it easy to find them back in the future. Once we have backups of all the wallets, it's time to load Subchain coins onto the incoming server. For this, we'll first need to get an incoming address. Make sure you're on the incoming server and then run the command to get an account address on the incoming account. The generated address can be used to receive Subchain coins. If you do not have any Subchain coins yet, you have to contact the core team and they'll provide you with them. Once you have received the Subchain coins, you can check the balance to see if you really have them on your server. Make sure your server is synced before checking it, otherwise it might not show up. We will do the same on the outgoing server, but for a NavCoin core address. Just run the command get account address outgoing account and it will generate an address to receive NavCoin with. The NavCoin on the outgoing server is called the Neff Pull. The Neff Pull is used to make outgoing transactions to receivers. When you configured your server, your outgoing server, you set the amount that you want to have in your Neff Pull. Now you will have to load the Neff Pull with the amount of NavCoin that you configured. Just send the NavCoin to the generated address and after that you can check the balance. Okay, so now we have backups and we have your Neff Pull filled and the Subchain Core is also filled with coins on the incoming server. Now it's time to start testing. For testing I make use of a core wallet. Go to the Manage NavTech Servers section and delete all the NavTech servers that are currently in there. After deleting all the servers, you will add the one that you just generated. This way, we will make sure that all our anonymous transactions, NavTech transactions, go through our server that we just set up. After adding our own server, you can click Get Info. You will see the settings of your NavTech server cluster. The first thing that we can test is the minimal amount and maximum amount that you set up in your server. Just try to send one transaction smaller than the minimal amount and try to send one transaction bigger than the maximum amount. In both cases it should return an error that it cannot find any server. This is because your server doesn't accept this amount of NavCoin. After successfully testing the minimal amount and maximum amount, it is time to send a NavTech transaction to your server. When you get a pop-up asking to confirm the transaction, make sure to control the NavTech server fee. After confirming the transaction, you can see it in the Transactions tab. The transaction should be sent out in multiple smaller transactions. That's how NavTech works. In the receiving wallet or in the block explorer, you can check the transaction. If it went through correctly, you should see multiple outputs. The outputs are also split. You should see multiple incoming transactions of 1 or 10 or 100 NAVCoin, etc. I suggest making a lot of NavTech transactions through a server cluster to make sure everything is working correct. From time to time you can check your outgoing server on collection of fees. On the outgoing server, just run the getBalance command for the NAV Coin Core and you'll see what the amount is in the Neff Pull. Everything more than the size of your Neff Pull are collected fees. Once the amount of collected fees reaches the threshold you have set to send out the NavTech fees to your wallet, they will be automatically sent. After testing the server, it is time to take it out of maintenance mode. To take your server cluster out of maintenance mode, connect to the incoming server and edit the default.json file. In the file, change maintenance to false, and after that save the file and close it. The last thing that's left to do is restarting your servers. First make sure that the NAV Coin Core and the Subchain Core wallets are running, and after that start NavTech. Once all of this is done, you're done. You have successfully set up a NavTech server cluster. If you only want to use it for yourself, you're totally done. If you want everyone to use your server, you should announce it. If you want your server listed on Navtechservers.com, contact me. Thanks for watching this video series and I hope it helped you to set up a NavTech server cluster.